Simon, after the game on Tuesday night, you said you're disappointed with your side's performance, but that doesn't happen very often, so you can't really get too upset with them, can you?
No, I didn't berate them too much, nor did Paul Thirlwell. I thought they responded to half time and they're an honest bunch. They knew that we'd underperformed first half. Second half we gave it our all, but on the night just lacked a little bit of cutting edge and a little bit of quality in the final third. But we go again. This is all part of the running, isn't it? There's games come thick and fast, and you've got to move on and be strong enough to do so.
When you do have a defeat, I suppose you'll go and reflect on everything. We talked about it briefly the night. It may have been an issue. It probably wasn't. Travelling down on the day of the game, does that make a difference? I know it's a Tuesday evening game, so you've got longer to get there, but is it ideal travelling down on a coach for, 4 hours, 5 hours, playing the game? Would you prefer maybe, or in future, think maybe about going the day before?
Well, I think it's the first time we've been down on the day of a game with it being so far away. But the problem is, if you do it the night before, there's a heck of a long time hanging around doing not much at all. So I think all teams have to do as well as they possibly can in their preparation. But we travelled down in a nice coach. We had a nice meal. We had time just to breathe and relax. So I think, you're just looking for an excuse, and we've got to be mentally strong, haven't we, and be able to travel on the day of a game. And fans were in good voice, weren't they? After a long journey, and we just didn't quite perform as we know we can. But you have to understand, obviously, they're good opposition as well, and all right, they're not in a good position in the table, but they've got very capable players, and if 2 or 3 are off it for us, then you can go in at half time 1-0 down and then give yourself a mountain to climb.
Because you've been on such a decent run recently, you've been able to name the same team week after week, game after game. Because of the defeat, do you now think about freshening it up this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we're having a look at it. You have a look at the video, and I think it was just because as a group we weren't quite on it. No one really fell way below. No one had a real dip in energy, and that's what we've been criticised a fair bit recently for not changing it when we've been winning, and or changing it through the course of a game when we've been winning with 10 minutes to go. You make a rod for your own back in those circumstances if you do change it. You criticise if you win or you lose, but you just got to get on with it, have broad shoulders, and I think we've got a really good fit group. I mean, we gave them what for in pre-season. I think we must have got one of the best touchwood injury records in our division. We have a fitness guy, Darren Simpson, working an hour and a half a week for us. We haven't got any heart monitors. We don't go to the extent of doing every fitness test. We've got an honesty and hard work, and it's paid dividends for us, and as a result of that we've got players who can last 90 minutes.
Have you got everyone who played the other night? Everyone was in your squad. Are they all available? No one's picked up any knocks?
Lloyd Kerry rolled his ankle, but we'll leave it until the last minute because it'd be great to name him in the side. I thought he was very, very good again last week, and he's been instrumental in our good run.
Joe Leasley came on, had a bit of an impact. Does he come into your thoughts?
More than a bit, to be honest. I thought he was great. Joe back to his best, and not that he had a massive dip, but things continually change over a grind of a season, and some players need rest at some points. There was a change of formation that wasn't suited as much to him, but he's come back in 4-4-2, right into our thoughts again, and he was very, very good when he came on.
What can you tell us about Barrow? I know they won the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, they're a slippery kind of team. We found ourselves 1-0 down to them at the C&G Stadium earlier in the season. Then we turned it around after half time, but you go one way or the other against them. You either drop off and make it all compact and be stubborn and resilient and deny them passing options, or you get after them. I'm not going to tell you which way we'll go about it, but we'll certainly commit to a style of play, and you have to, because if you're going half-hearted or worried about them, then they're good enough to really get at you and hurt you.
They're a mid-table side at the minute, but their manager's talked about winning their last 7 games, and he thinks if they can do that, they've got a realistic chance of sneaking into the playoffs. With that in mind, are you expecting a pretty open game with both sides going out for the win?
Well, it's always our intention to come away with 3 points. I think we're better off being very positive. We've got a positive group of players that seem to buzz off the fact that we don't hold back. He'll be the same. They've got a good young team that are suited to playing his style of football, which is really expansive, and it's an attractive style of football. They're finding themselves in mid-table, but like you said, anything's possible in this league. It's a crazy league. If they win 8 games, then they may well end up in the playoffs. If we do, who knows? It could be really, really exciting. And but we'll see on the day. Again, if you have 11 players all on it, really grafting, then we've got two very good teams in action on Saturday, but we'll hopefully come out on top.
But does it suggest that a defeat really is no good for them? They're not going to get relegated, you wouldn't have thought either. That does then give you they will be more open, and your side, you would think, would at some point get some decent chances going forward.
Yeah, I would think they'll definitely not hold back. And I was reading with interest on Twitter their action against Wrexham. And on the night, I was pleased, obviously, because you're trying to catch up on Wrexham, but they continue to do well, de Barrow, and suddenly they've got a bit of momentum, which I didn't want that leading into the game. But we've been on a really good run. We've accumulated 13 points out of 18, one of the form teams in the league ourselves. So we're not going to underestimate what we're like and go timid about it. We're just looking forward to a good game.
You've had a superb season, been in the playoff positions throughout the whole of the season, really. I know you want to win every game, but have you sort of set yourselves a points target where you think if we get X number of points, that should be enough for us to be in the top 7?
Not a points target. We'll look at the form guide and again, we'll just repeat it. We're up there, aren't we, with the best teams in the league at the minute. Over the last 10 games, 6 games, 5 games, and that's right at the business end. So I think the lads deserve a lot of credit for this season, and they're not about to tire now. They're relentless in their attitude in training. We've just given them 2 days off because we got back about 3ish the other night, so they wouldn't have had much sleep, so they deserve the 48 hours off. They deserve a good home crowd against Salford next week, and I know there's going to be a good away following at Barrow. We hope the crowds return to what they were early on in the season, because at the end of the day, you said it, we've hardly been outside the playoffs, and I think the players deserve a good roar behind them, as we know that the crowd, when they really are up for it, they can get behind us, and they helped us over the line last year. It'd be sensational if we got over the line this year, and unheard of. But we're all in it together, and I think we've got talisman in the crowd. I said the other night that stir it up, and if everyone's on form, our best chance is doing it together.